Welcome to another episode of Start the Week with Wisdom. I'm your host, Bridget Burns, Executive Director of the University Innovation Alliance, and we are very excited to be here with you today.
I'm Doug Lederman, editor and co-founder of Inside Higher Ed. Glad to be here with you.
Sorry about that, Doug. That is classic. We are having one of those technical days. So thanks for those who are at home watching and who've been hanging out for us. Trust us, this is going to be worth it. So if you normally join us, you might know that this is Start the Week with Wisdom. We typically would do this on a Monday, and it is designed to have a conversation with a sitting college president or chancellor to inspire you for the week ahead. However, this week is different because we think you need some extra motivation, some extra inspiration, and it's a very special week for my organization, the University Innovation Alliance, because on Monday we announced an update on our goals and our achievements, but most importantly, we announced that we have 2 new members. And so on Monday, you got a chance to meet one of them, and I'm so delighted that you're getting a chance to meet our second new institution in the UIA.
And we're joined today by the longtime chancellor of the largest historically Black college in the country, and that's Harold Martin, who's the chancellor of North Carolina A&T State University in part of the North Carolina system. Chancellor Martin, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks very much, Bridget and Doug. Delighted to be with you today.
We're so happy to have you. And Chancellor Martin, most importantly, thank you and welcome to the UIA. We have been, this has been a secret we have been keeping now for, like almost a year. And so excited to share a bit more about that and part of why we're so excited. But I guess I would start with asking you, why are you most excited about joining the Alliance?
Thanks very much. Great question. And, we've been engaged in this incredible work for a long time. And as you know, this is difficult work, recruiting bright and talented students from very diverse groups, inclusive of low-income students, first-generation students, and the challenges of ensuring that we are affording these incredibly bright students the same kind of excellent educational experience and support they deserve to continue to be successful is complex. And having access to exceptional colleagues leading some of our nation's most innovative research universities and be able to share in these experiences, share best practices is a great opportunity for us and for me personally. And so I'm excited about the collaborations that emerge from these discussions and being in the midst of great colleagues to share some of the very best ideas, ask tough questions so that we're all successful together.
So you obviously benefit in certain ways from being in a system, but in ways that a lot of institutions that are sort of solo practitioners and out there on an island by themselves don't. But I think we're increasingly at a moment where institutions on their own are going to have a hard time achieving what they want to achieve. So what do you think? I assume becoming part of this another kind of sort of system, or at least loose kind of alliance, gives you some strengths and some resources and some assets that maybe you don't have otherwise?
Yes, the University of North Carolina system has created an incredible framework for our university and all of the public universities in North Carolina. We collaborate quite extensively across a variety of ways, but we also compete as well. For resources, we compete for the population of students in North Carolina to drive our enrollment targets and the like. And so there's an incredible balance there. Oftentimes, while we are very good, have high regard for one another in our UNC system, it is important to sometimes step out of that environment and build new relationships, new collaborations. And while we benefit and value these relationships at home, we also are looking for a more global perspective as well. Institutions who are in some ways are ahead of the game in working together in significant collaborations, focus on this specific area of need, growing and increasing success in graduating students increasingly larger numbers of minority students, as well as first-generation college students. That creates another group of excellent, innovative institutions with whom we are excited to be working with.
Like the shout out from Todd Simmons there. And I also, I'm wearing my Aggie colors today, but
We appreciate that very much, actually. Thank you.
I appreciate the reference to the system versus alliance collaboration. So what I'm interested in is we're in a really, really hard moment. We've just come through a really hard moment as a country. And I'm just wondering about whether you see a different type of need or why collaboration might be either more essential now or less. Because it felt to me like during the pandemic, institutions became a bit more insular. Part of it is because we're all stuck in our houses. But I'm just wondering if you see any particular challenges that you'd like to team up with institutions on as we're coming out of the pandemic.
Absolutely. We as a university, as a little history, have tended to be much more insular than many universities overall. And I think that's characteristic of some institutions, and we were one of those. We're protecting our history, we're protecting our mission, we're protecting our turf, so to speak, as an HBCU. And quite honestly, in today's age and growing opportunities for demands for our graduates, increasing interest in our university, as well as looking at the growing demands globally for increased talented graduates who are critically important for the corporate needs, employment needs of our graduates. I think employers have realized an increasing new set of skills required by their employees as increased teleworking has been critically important for their ability to continue to be successful from the corporate sector to government agencies to nonprofits. We have seen that in conversations with a variety of organizations. As American organizations seek to be even more competitive on a global scale, we're hearing often from our business leaders, locally, regionally, and nationally, that these are some of the new and emerging skill sets that we need graduates to have upon graduation. These are some of the areas emerging as new technical skills that we also need from college graduates as well. So this creates a tremendous opportunity for us to be less insular, more innovative, and the more collaborative we are with institutions who are committed to some of the similar kinds of goals and objectives we are, build stronger collaborations and partnerships and opportunities to think, I hate to use an old cliche, but outside of the box around areas where we can be increasingly more successful and unapologetically be more successful in graduating more students of color, increasing the number of first-generation students very intentionally, because students who are first-generation low-income have substantially more financial need to go to college. We have to make commitments to make those investments. Not all institutions have been committed to deploy resources in this space. That's what makes the University Innovation Alliance so critically important as well, because the Alliance has committed to common set of strategic goals to be more successful in graduating more graduates, but in particular, first generation, low income students of color as well. And so that excites us, that excites me, quite honestly. But I'm particularly interested in, as a competitive land-grant institution, land-grant institutions were created to address the critical needs of industries and government organizations to produce graduates and deploy applied science to help these organizations be more successful and enhance their competitiveness. And we take that very seriously as part of our land-grant mission. And so innovation is key to our DNA.
This is obviously a moment where the federal administration here in DC is choosing to really prioritize higher education generally, in part to pursue all the goals that you're just talking about, but with a particular focus on, or at least support for, historically Black institutions. And I'm curious, kind of, there's obviously lots of money being talked about. We'll see how much of it materializes in what continues to be a very divided Washington. But I'm curious, kind of, what does the additional resources for a place like NCA&T create the possibility of? Like, where do you see the most? What do you think you could deliver with additional funds for research and for infrastructure and all sorts of other things that above and beyond what you're doing now?
The work we're engaged in, the work the University Innovation Alliance is engaged in, is complex. It's expensive. Excellence is expensive. It requires a broad array of additional resources to provide support to the incredible students we're recruiting to our universities as a collective group, staffing to provide the kinds of tutorial, advice, and counsel, destination employment experiences and motivation, ensure that these students are on track in areas that are most important to their skill sets and their interests as well. Now, I'm excited about the increasing visibility that historically Black colleges and universities are receiving from this administration and Congress in the deployment of additional resources. We have seen the evidence of a commitment by this Congress as well as the administration as evidenced through the deployment of the CARES Act, the HERF funds, the Higher Education Relief Funds. Higher education has received a significant level of investment as part of the CARES Act dollars. But additionally, historically Black colleges and universities, tribal institutions, and minority-serving institutions have received additional dollars on top of those that are critically important to invest in academic programs, to enhance infrastructure support of our institutions that accommodate the growing interest in students and their families in our universities as well. Being innovative in creating new degree programs and collaborations to ensure that we are adding value to those collaborations are critically important as well. I'm particularly excited about the fact that this administration is elevating the important conversation around science and the importance of science, the value of science, the importance of investing in our nation's infrastructure, and the role that institutions will play in creating innovation in science and science research, and involvement in deploying solutions and developing innovative solutions for enhancing our infrastructure for our nation as well. And creating more and incredibly well-prepared graduates who are going to be necessary as we open more discussions about science, infrastructure, enhancements in climate change in the world. Quite honestly, low-income students, first-generation students are excited about these topical areas as well. They're very in tune to the importance of climate change in our world. And they have a passion for being involved in creating solutions in this space. They're interested in educational opportunities in this space. So the additional federal dollars being talked about, and in instances such as the relief funds are actually being deployed to our institutions, are critically important to enabling our universities, HBCUs, minority-serving institutions, tribal institutions, to also step into this incredible area of opportunity. HBCUs are doing remarkable research. Our university is third in research among the UNC system campuses. What I often have is conversation with our board of trustees, our leadership team, and our incredible faculty is, what are we doing with this research? How innovative are we? What is the innovation that is emerging out of the remarkable research of our faculty and our students? How are we patenting this research and how are we exploring opportunities to commercialize the technologies that are emerging out of the innovation of our faculty and our students. That, in my mind, enables our university to continue to add value, have significant impact economically on our community, our region, and our state as a whole. But it's also exciting and enabling a growing population of students arriving at our campus who are interested in entrepreneurship opportunities. They want to start their own companies, their own businesses. Many of our students arriving at our campus today from high school have already started companies and are wanting to expand how they themselves step into these growing areas of opportunity for this generation of incredibly bright students. I'll give an example. When I finished my education as an undergraduate student at our university, some 40 years ago or more, the opportunities to create my own company or capitalize on investment opportunities to build the capital that I would need to do so were not as readily available for me as a graduate from our university at that time as they are today. And increasingly, if we're going to talk about enhancing wealth disparities, addressing those in significant ways, addressing some of the areas of disparity in employment, healthcare, and education, creating these opportunities and making our graduates more and increasingly aware of opportunities available to them and the investments that are being made available to them are going to be critical to the role we play. The innovation that will emerge out of our partnership and collaborations with exceptional colleagues as part of the UIA excites us, quite honestly, and creates a high level of excitement and enthusiasm that we think are going to create other areas of innovation that allows us to continue to create even more successes for our universities, for our faculty engagement, and importantly, for the graduates we produce.
That's wonderful. So I feel like we're gonna record that. I'm gonna start having you give the UIA pitch for me then, right? This is great. So I wanted to shift to talking about you, in that you've led A&T for a very long time, and you had tremendous experience with the system prior. And I know that as you are we're in this space right now where there are a lot of new opportunities opening up and people are looking at becoming chancellors or presidents. I'm guessing a lot of them come to you and ask for advice. And what I would like to know is, what is the advice that you most frequently give someone who is thinking about the presidency or chancellorship?
You know, I have been at this for a long time. I have been very fortunate and quite blessed to have had incremental opportunities for advancement in my career. And along the way, those incremental advancements in my career, department head, a dean, a provost, long before I became a chancellor, were areas of opportunity that allowed me to expand my leadership skills and experiences, to explore innovation, explore pushing the envelope of new opportunities and experiences, managing change, and leading teams through change in organizations. And so those experiences are what I share with many very bright and talented young people who want to see themselves being a chancellor president of a university in the future. And what I encourage them to do is not be so impatient, to take the time to gain the experiences along the way. Don't look for quick titles and with shallow experiences and opportunities to lead organizations and make tough decisions. Get involved with the critical hard work along the way and demonstrate your understanding of the organization that you have responsibility for, and devise ways of building teams, recruiting top talent, and deploying strategy that makes the organization better than it was when you inherited the organization. And then use those experiences to seek the next opportunity for advancement of your career. What I've ever seen evidence of is far too many bright and talented young people want to cut quick corners and get ahead in the advancement opportunity and miss those critical opportunities to build the experiences they will need to make the tough decisions when they reach the pinnacle of chancellorship or presidency, and ultimately then the tough decisions they will have to make, they're not as prepared to make. They don't have the gravitas, if you will, to attract the top leadership teams that they need to build. And they don't have the experiences of saying, I've seen this challenge and problem before in a prior experience. Those are the solutions that work then. I'm confident that it will work today by scaling up those experiences to meet the bigger challenge today. Those are the examples I share with young people in my experiences, and as I mentor them in a very significant way. Experiences are far more important than additional compensation quickly or a new title with limited exposure and opportunity.
Yeah, especially this year, right?
Absolutely.
Actual chance. So I guess the last question we'll end with is, what's the best advice that you received that helped you in your career?
Well, I think from my experiences growing up in a household with uneducated parents, so I was a first generation college-going student as well, along with my older brother and sister. But we had parents who were absolutely committed to ensuring that we had the discipline, the work ethic, and values to go on to college and view getting an education a top priority for each of us. That was critically important. And so what I see as challenges here as well, though, as we look to the future and we think about from a first generation person's exposure and experiences, this is hard work. And we clearly need to ensure that we are committed to the duration of experiences. I've been very fortunate here to have been able to be in my role for a sustained period of time to create stability in our university. That's been as valuable as the experiences I've brought to this role as well, because we have found far too often that the challenges with far too many of our universities is the instability of leadership in our institutions, where we don't have the opportunity to build infrastructure, build leadership strategy, build succession plans that allow us to sustain the momentum that we create in our universities today. And we believe today for our university, as an example, from our observation of those most successful institutions of higher education in America, the institutions have valued their mission. They have recognized the importance of continuing to have a very sound, strong board of trustees that provides the oversight and governance and critical leadership within the institution that has communicated extensively with its constituency, alumni, friends of the institution, business leaders of the organization as well, so that that momentum is sustained across leadership changes in the organization. And so we believe we have built that kind of leadership structure and governance for our institution that values who we are, builds trust in the various constituent groups, and has set a very significant path for the future for our institution that we will continue to build on across leadership changes within our organization, of which we're excited about.
Well, great. And so thank you so much, Chancellor Martin, for spending this time with us. We really appreciate it, especially overcoming all the technical challenges that are really kind of, they happen if your name has innovation in it. It's just like going to be a thing. So Doug, always wonderful to have you as a co-host. And for those
Pleasure.
who are watching at home, we have another episode featuring Tim Rennick from the National Institute on Student Success that will be on Thursday. So thanks everybody, and we will see you then.
Thank you.